Marcus had never expected his life to change in a single morning. He woke up to a letter resting on the kitchen table, sealed with an official stamp. His heart pounded as he tore it open. The letter was from a lawyer, informing him that his uncle, a man Marcus barely remembered, had passed away and left him the family farm. The farm was far from the city, surrounded by rolling hills, thick woods, and quiet streams. Marcus had spent years serving in the military, traveling to distant lands and facing challenges that had tested his courage and patience. He had raised his daughter Lily on his own, and their life had been simple but safe. He worked hard to provide her with comfort and stability. The thought of inheriting a farm seemed almost unreal. He had never considered leaving the city or trading his small apartment for acres of land. But the idea of a new beginning intrigued him. When Marcus and Lily drove up to the farm, a feeling of awe washed over them. The farmhouse was old, with paint faded by years of sun and wind. Its wooden walls creaked slightly in the breeze, and the roof seemed to hold stories of decades past. Dust covered the floors inside, and the scent of old wood filled the air. Sunlight streamed through cracked windows, casting patterns on the worn furniture. Lily jumped out of the car, her laughter echoing across the fields. She ran through the tall grass, chasing butterflies and spinning in circles, her energy filling the quiet farm with life. Marcus smiled, feeling a warmth he had not expected. For the first time in years, he imagined a peaceful future, one where his daughter could grow up surrounded by nature and freedom. As Marcus explored the farmhouse, he noticed odd markings etched into the walls and floors. At first, he thought they were just the work of his uncle, or perhaps children from the past. But as he studied them, he realized they formed numbers, symbols, and patterns that seemed deliberate. Some markings looked like coordinates, while others resembled codes. A strange feeling stirred in his chest. Something about these markings seemed connected to his past, to his time in the military, though he could not yet understand how. The barn behind the house drew his attention. It was large, older than the farmhouse, with wide doors that hung slightly crooked on their hinges. Marcus felt an unexplainable pull toward it. He walked across the field, crunching dry leaves under his boots. The barn smelled of hay and old wood, with faint traces of oil or machinery. Inside, he found rusted tools, a few crates, and piles of forgotten equipment. One crate in particular caught his eye. It was sealed, heavy, and had a faded label with symbols that matched the ones he had seen in the house. Marcus tried to open it, but it was locked tight. That evening, Marcus sat on the porch with Lily beside him. The sky glowed with shades of orange and pink as the sun dipped behind the hills. He watched her small face filled with wonder and felt a mix of pride and protectiveness. He thought about how life had always been a challenge, from missions overseas to raising Lily alone. Now he realized that a new adventure awaited him here, on this quiet farm, and it was a challenge he could not ignore. As the stars appeared, Marcus could not shake the feeling that the farm held more than just land and buildings. There was a hidden story waiting to be discovered, something connected to his uncle and perhaps to Marcus himself. He felt a spark of curiosity and determination. Whatever secrets this farm held, he would uncover them, not just for himself, but for Lily and the life they could build together. The night grew calm, with only the sounds of crickets and distant owls breaking the silence. Marcus felt a mixture of anticipation and unease. The farm had come to him unexpectedly, and it was more than he could have imagined. He knew that tomorrow would be the first step into a life that was both unknown and full of possibilities. The next morning, Marcus woke early, the sun spilling golden light across the farmhouse. Lily was already outside, running through the fields, her small feet leaving prints in the soft earth. Marcus drank his coffee slowly, looking out over the wide expanse of land. Something about the farm felt alive, almost as if it was waiting for them to discover its secrets. After breakfast, Marcus decided to explore the barn more carefully. The crate he had seen the day before continued to occupy his mind. It was heavy and locked, but he noticed a small metal latch on its side that seemed unusual. As he examined it, he found a small key hidden under a loose floorboard. His pulse quickened. He had never believed in luck, but today it seemed to be on his side. With Lily watching curiously, Marcus unlocked the crate. Inside, he found neatly stacked folders, small electronic devices, and a faded notebook. He carefully opened the notebook and discovered a series of detailed drawings, coordinates, and notes that looked like instructions for some kind of operation. Marcus's military training kicked in, and he recognized some of the terminology immediately. The notes spoke of advanced equipment, secret missions, and codes that only a trained soldier could understand. Lily leaned over his shoulder. "What is it, Dad?" she asked. Marcus hesitated. He wanted to protect her, but he also wanted to share the excitement. "It's something your grandfather worked on," he said. "It's very important and we need to keep it safe." He spent hours going through the folders, each one revealing more secrets. His uncle had clearly been involved in classified military projects that Marcus had never imagined. Some of the papers described advanced technology that could change the way people lived and worked. Marcus realized that the farm was not just a piece of land. It was hiding something valuable, something powerful. By midday, Marcus took a break. He walked through the fields, trying to think clearly. The farm seemed peaceful, but he knew that the secrets he had discovered could attract attention. If anyone learned about this information, it could cause trouble. He felt a mix of excitement and caution. The farm, which at first seemed quiet and simple, was now the center of a mystery that might reach far beyond the hills surrounding them. That afternoon, Marcus decided to explore the woods behind the barn. The trees were tall and thick, and sunlight filtered through their leaves in bright patches. He followed a narrow path, noticing small signs that someone had been there recently. Footprints, broken branches, and faint tire tracks suggested that he was not the first to investigate this area. Marcus's instincts told him to be careful. He had faced danger in his military career, but this was different. This was unknown territory, and he had to protect Lily and the farm. As he reached a small clearing, Marcus spotted an old metal hatch hidden beneath leaves and moss. He knelt down and brushed away the debris. The hatch had a lock similar to the one on the crate, but larger and stronger. Marcus felt a thrill run through him. Whatever lay beneath this hatch, it was connected to the folders, the notes, and the strange symbols in the farmhouse. He returned to Lily and told her they would explore more tomorrow. She nodded, trusting him completely, unaware of the importance of the discovery. Marcus felt a responsibility heavier than anything he had carried before. The farm was more than inheritance. It was a mission, a puzzle left behind by his uncle. As evening came, Marcus sat on the porch reviewing the notebook once more. He realized that understanding the technology and missions described would take time and careful study. He had to plan, protect the information, and ensure that no one else discovered it before they were ready. Lily came running to him, holding a small flower she had picked. "Look, Dad," she said, smiling. Marcus took the flower and smiled back. Despite the growing mystery, he felt a sense of hope. The farm could be their new home, a place to rebuild, and perhaps a place where they could uncover secrets that would change their lives forever. That night, as the stars twinkled overhead, Marcus felt the weight of responsibility settle over him. The farm was no longer just land and buildings. It was a treasure chest of hidden knowledge, waiting to be explored. And he knew that tomorrow would bring new discoveries, challenges, and a deeper understanding of the legacy left behind by his uncle. The morning sun warmed the farm as Marcus prepared for another day of discovery. Lily ate breakfast quickly, eager to explore the fields, but Marcus had a different plan. Today he would investigate the metal hatch in the woods. The notebook, the crate, and the markings in the house all pointed to something hidden underground. His curiosity burned stronger than his caution. He packed a small bag with a flashlight, gloves, and some tools. Lily wanted to join him, but Marcus shook his head gently. "This place is dangerous, Lily. I need to check it first," he said. She nodded reluctantly, trusting her father. The woods were quiet, filled with birdsong and the rustling of leaves. Marcus moved carefully along the path he had discovered yesterday. He reached the clearing where the hatch lay hidden beneath moss and leaves. The sunlight illuminated the edges of the metal cover, making it look both ordinary and strange at the same time. Marcus knelt down and examined the lock. It was sturdy, much stronger than anything he had encountered on the crate. He pulled out a small set of tools from his bag, thinking about the designs and codes in the notebook. His uncle had left instructions, but they were subtle, written in ways only someone with experience could understand. After several careful attempts, the lock clicked open. Marcus's heart raced. With effort, he lifted the hatch. Below was a narrow staircase descending into darkness. He turned on his flashlight, the beam cutting through the blackness. The air smelled cool and damp. Marcus moved carefully, each step echoing softly against the walls. The feeling of mystery wrapped around him, making every sound and shadow seem alive. At the bottom of the stairs, Marcus discovered a large underground room. It was filled with equipment he had only seen in training manuals or military briefings. There were computers, devices with blinking lights, and metal cabinets covered in labels with codes and numbers. The walls had shelves stacked with files, and in the center of the room was a large table with diagrams spread across it. Marcus ran his hand over the table, feeling the smooth surface and imagining the work his uncle had done here. He opened one of the cabinets and found documents that explained the purpose of the equipment. It was clear now that his uncle had been involved in a secret operation, one designed to protect information of high importance. The files described projects that could benefit thousands of people, inventions that could change energy use, communications, and security. Marcus realized that the farm was not just land. It was a hub for something extraordinary. Hours passed as Marcus examined the room. He found maps of locations marked with symbols matching those in the notebook. Some devices seemed active, powered by hidden batteries or generators. He noticed that some files were labeled with dates and codes that suggested ongoing research. His uncle had left instructions carefully, perhaps knowing one day Marcus would find them. Marcus sat on a small stool, absorbing the weight of the discovery. This was more than inheritance. It was a responsibility, a mission that his uncle had trusted him to continue. He thought about Lily and the life he wanted for her. The farm could be a place of safety and adventure, a place where he could protect her while learning the truth about the secret his uncle had guarded. As the day faded, Marcus closed the cabinets and took notes in a small notebook of his own. He marked locations, wrote down patterns, and planned his next steps. He knew that understanding this operation fully would take time and careful study, but he also knew that the first step had been taken. The hidden room, the technology, and the information were now in his hands. When Marcus climbed back up the stairs and closed the hatch, he felt both excitement and responsibility. He returned to the farmhouse where Lily greeted him with a smile. "Did you find anything?" she asked, her eyes wide with curiosity. Marcus hugged her gently. "Something very special, Lily. Something we will learn more about together." That night, as the stars appeared over the hills, Marcus sat on the porch with Lily asleep inside. The farm was quiet, but the discoveries beneath it echoed in his mind. The secret room, the devices, and the files were only the beginning. He knew that tomorrow would bring new challenges and more mysteries. Marcus felt ready. The adventure had truly begun. The next morning, Marcus woke with determination. The hidden room under the farm had given him answers, but also raised many questions. He prepared for another day of discovery, packing his bag with flashlights, gloves, notebooks, and a few small tools. Today, he planned to examine the devices more carefully. Lily watched him quietly from the porch. "Are you going back down there, Dad?" she asked. "Yes, Lily," Marcus said with a smile, "but you can play outside. I'll be careful and I'll show you everything when I am done." Lily nodded, trusting him completely. Her laughter filled the farm as she ran to the fields, and Marcus felt a sense of calm before diving into the mystery once again. He returned to the woods, moving quickly along the familiar path. The hatch, now open, revealed the staircase descending into darkness. Marcus switched on his flashlight and descended slowly, every step echoing softly in the underground room. The devices from yesterday seemed even more intriguing in the morning light of his flashlight. Their blinking lights and small screens hinted at activity, as if the machines were waiting for someone to understand them. Marcus began with a small rectangular device on the table. It had buttons, a screen, and a slot for a card. He searched through the folders and found a card labeled with a symbol matching the device. Carefully, he inserted the card. The screen lit up, displaying data that looked like codes, maps, and instructions. Marcus's heart raced. This was not ordinary equipment. The technology was advanced and precise, showing connections, measurements, and locations he did not fully understand yet. Hours passed as Marcus tested other devices. Some measured energy. Others seemed to communicate with distant machines. He realized that the operation his uncle had left behind was sophisticated. It had the potential to change the way people stored information, shared messages, and even produced energy. Marcus felt a mix of awe and responsibility. His uncle had trusted him to safeguard this knowledge, and he understood that it was important not just for him or Lily, but for many others. He also discovered small notebooks with diagrams of structures that looked like buildings or bunkers. Some locations matched the coordinates he had seen in the farmhouse in the woods. Marcus realized that the operation was larger than this farm. There were hidden sites elsewhere, connected by the technology and plans his uncle had left behind. By late afternoon, Marcus took a break and sat on a small stool in the underground room. He felt the weight of the secret settling on his shoulders. This was no ordinary inheritance. It was a mission, a responsibility, and a puzzle all in one. He thought of Lily, her bright eyes and curiosity. He wanted to protect her, but he also wanted her to be part of this adventure when the time was right. Marcus carefully documented everything he had discovered. He wrote down device functions, mapped coordinates, and noted patterns in the codes. Every page added clarity but also raised more questions. The technology was advanced, and understanding it fully would take time. He had to plan carefully. One mistake could make the operation vulnerable, and he could not allow that. As he prepared to leave the underground room, Marcus noticed something unusual. One device blinked faster than the others, a signal he had not seen before. He approached it, examining the screen. It displayed a message, a sequence of numbers and letters changing every few seconds. Marcus felt a thrill of excitement. His uncle had left instructions but also tests to ensure that only someone careful and trained could follow them. When Marcus climbed back up the stairs, the evening light bathed the farm in a warm glow. Lily ran to him, holding a small bouquet of wildflowers. "Did you find something, Dad?" she asked eagerly. "Yes, Lily," Marcus said, smiling. "Something amazing. But we will need time to understand it. It is a secret that must be protected, and I will teach you carefully when the time is right." That night, Marcus sat on the porch looking at the stars above. The farm seemed peaceful, but beneath the surface lay mysteries that could change lives. He felt ready to face the challenges ahead. Tomorrow would bring new discoveries, tests of his knowledge, and perhaps the first clues about why his uncle had kept this secret at the farm. Marcus understood that this was only the beginning, and the journey would be filled with surprises, dangers, and incredible revelations. The next morning, Marcus felt a sense of purpose he had not experienced in years. The farm had become more than land and a home for him and Lily. It was a place of discovery, a place where his uncle's secret work could finally be understood. After breakfast, Marcus packed his bag with notebooks, flashlights, and some tools. Today, he intended to connect the dots between the devices, the notebooks, and the markings he had found in the farmhouse. Lily played nearby, picking flowers and chasing small birds. Marcus watched her for a moment, smiling. Her happiness reminded him of what he was protecting. The farm was their new life, but the secrets buried beneath it carried great responsibility. He could not allow mistakes, and he could not rush. Every discovery had to be studied carefully. Marcus returned to the woods and descended into the underground room. The blinking lights of the devices greeted him like old friends. He began by examining the sequence of numbers and letters that had appeared on one of the screens the night before. Carefully, he compared the data with the notebooks and diagrams he had collected. Slowly, a pattern emerged. The codes were connected to locations marked on maps, both on paper and digitally. His uncle had left a trail, guiding Marcus to understand the operation step by step. Hours passed as he worked, connecting coordinates with diagrams, numbers with devices, and symbols with instructions. Marcus realized that the operation was not just a project but a network. It involved technology designed to store and transmit information securely. It could be used to protect knowledge, energy solutions, and communications across great distances. His uncle had dedicated years to developing this system, hiding it beneath the quiet farm. Marcus paused for a moment, thinking of the scale of the work. The farm had been a cover, a safe place for research that could change lives. His uncle had trusted him to continue the work, and Marcus felt a deep responsibility settle in his chest. The technology was powerful, but only if handled carefully. He had to learn quickly, protect the equipment, and plan for the next steps. He decided to test one of the communication devices. Following the instructions in the notebook, he activated the device. It hummed softly, and a series of lights blinked in sequence. Marcus entered a code from the notebook, and the screen displayed a map with marked locations. Some points were close, near the farm, while others were far away. The network was larger than he had imagined. and each location seemed to be connected to the devices and systems his uncle had created. Marcus felt a thrill of excitement. This was more than a secret. It was a network that could have incredible value, but along with the excitement came caution. If the information fell into the wrong hands, it could cause trouble. He had to protect it at all costs. By late afternoon, Marcus had mapped several of the points and understood some of the functions of the devices. He realized that some of the equipment could generate energy efficiently, while other devices could transmit messages securely across long distances. The combination of technology and strategy was remarkable, a true testament to his uncle's intelligence and foresight. When he returned to the farmhouse, Marcus felt a sense of accomplishment. He shared a simple dinner with Lily and told her, "We have work to do, Lily, but it is important work. Something your grandfather started, and now we are part of it." Lily smiled, not fully understanding, but she trusted him completely. That night, Marcus sat outside under the stars. The farm was calm, yet he felt the weight of responsibility in every breeze that passed through the trees. He had begun to understand the network his uncle had created, and he knew that tomorrow would bring more discoveries and perhaps new challenges. The farm was no longer just a home. It was a key to a secret that could change the future. Marcus felt ready for the journey ahead, knowing that each step brought him closer to uncovering the full mystery. The next morning, Marcus woke with determination. The discoveries under the farm had given him a sense of purpose, but he knew that understanding the network completely would take time. He prepared his bag with tools, notebooks, and a flashlight. Today, he intended to test another device and see if he could uncover more about the hidden connections. Lily played nearby, collecting wildflowers and watching small birds in the yard. Marcus smiled at her innocence. The farm was not only a place of secrets, but a home, a safe place for her to grow. He wanted to keep her happy and protected, even as he explored the mysteries his uncle had left behind. Marcus descended the staircase to the underground room, the metal hatch closing softly behind him. The devices blinked in greeting, lights casting shadows on the walls lined with notebooks and diagrams. Marcus approached a tall device covered with buttons, levers, and small screens. The notebook described it as a signal coordinator, designed to connect multiple locations across long distances. He followed the instructions carefully, entering the code from the notebook. The device hummed and lights began to blink in a sequence. Marcus watched closely, trying to understand the pattern. After several minutes, the screens displayed coordinates and maps. But something was wrong. One of the points was highlighted in red, a warning he had not seen before. Marcus frowned. He checked the notebook again, reading the notes carefully. The red point indicated a potential problem with one of the locations in the network. His uncle had left it as a warning, a test, or perhaps an alert that something needed attention. Marcus realized that the network was not only powerful but also delicate. A small mistake could cause problems, and he had to act carefully. He studied the maps and diagrams, trying to find a solution. The red point seemed to be connected to several other locations. Marcus knew that he would need to investigate further, but he also understood that this would not be simple. He made notes and marked the point as a priority. Whatever was happening at that location, it required attention. Hours passed as Marcus worked on understanding the network. He tested smaller devices, checked connections, and compared notes. Each step brought new insight but also new questions. The operation his uncle had left behind was brilliant but complex. Marcus realized that he would need time, patience, and careful planning to manage it successfully. When he finally returned to the farmhouse, the sun was low in the sky. Lily ran to him holding a small bouquet of flowers. "Did you fix it, Dad?" she asked. Marcus knelt and hugged her. "Not yet, Lily, but I have a plan. Tomorrow, we will learn more and get closer to solving the problem." That night, Marcus sat on the porch looking at the stars. The farm was quiet, but the challenges he had discovered weighed heavily on his mind. The red point on the map was a reminder that this inheritance was more than land and old buildings. It was a responsibility, a puzzle, and a mission. He had begun to understand the network, but now he realized that mistakes were not an option. Marcus thought about the future. The farm, the network, and the hidden technology could change lives if used carefully. But he also knew that danger, even if subtle, could be nearby. The red point was a warning, and he could not ignore it. He felt a mixture of excitement and caution, understanding that each step forward required focus and intelligence. He went inside to check on Lily, who was asleep in her bed. Marcus watched her peaceful face and felt a deep sense of determination. He would protect her and the farm, uncover the secrets of the network, and ensure that his uncle's work was preserved. Tomorrow would bring more discoveries, and he would face the challenges head-on, ready for whatever the farm and its hidden technology had in store. The night passed quietly, but Marcus's mind was awake with possibilities, plans, and the excitement of uncovering secrets. The farm was no longer just a home. It was the center of something extraordinary, and he was ready to embrace the journey step by step. The morning sun rose gently over the farm, casting golden light on the fields and trees. Marcus stood at the edge of the woods thinking about the red point he had discovered in the network yesterday. He knew that today he would take a closer look and understand what his uncle had intended. The farm had become more than a home. It was now a mission, a responsibility that required focus and care. Lily ran past him, laughing as she chased a small butterfly. Marcus smiled at her energy. She was his anchor, reminding him that no matter how complex the secret was, the farm was also a place of life, learning, and joy. He kissed her forehead gently. "Play safely, Lily. I will be back soon," he said. Marcus returned to the woods and descended into the underground room. The devices blinked softly, welcoming him back. He approached the map that had shown the red point. Carefully, he reviewed all the coordinates, diagrams, and notes he had collected. He traced the lines connecting the red point to the other locations in the network. His uncle had left clues, and Marcus's mind began to piece them together. He realized that the red point represented a central hub, a critical part of the network. If the hub failed, the entire system could be disrupted. Marcus felt a mixture of excitement and responsibility. His uncle had trusted him to not only discover the technology, but also to manage it carefully. It was a test of intelligence, patience, and attention to detail. Marcus examined one of the devices connected to the hub. It displayed data about energy flow, communication signals, and system stability. He adjusted settings based on the instructions in the notebook. Slowly, the blinking red light turned green. Marcus exhaled, feeling a sense of accomplishment. The hub was functioning again, but he knew that this was only the beginning. The network was vast, and the technology required careful study to fully understand its potential. As Marcus worked, he noticed a pattern in the diagrams. The coordinates were not random. They formed a map of critical locations, each one supporting the network in its own way. His uncle had created a system that could protect information, distribute energy, and maintain communication over large distances. The work was brilliant, far beyond what Marcus had imagined. Hours passed as he explored and documented everything. He realized that the farm had been the perfect cover. No one would suspect that beneath the quiet fields and old barn lay a network of incredible technology. Marcus understood why his uncle had left it here, in a place that seemed ordinary but was extraordinary in its secrets. By late afternoon, Marcus had finished checking the hub and mapping its connections. He climbed the stairs and returned to the farmhouse where Lily was waiting with a small basket of flowers. "Did it work, Dad?" she asked, her eyes bright with curiosity. "Yes, Lily," Marcus said, smiling. "Everything is working. But there is still more to learn. Your grandfather left a very smart system, and we need to understand it step by step." Lily nodded, trusting him completely. That evening, Marcus sat on the porch, looking at the sun setting over the hills. The farm was peaceful, but the discoveries beneath it had changed everything. He felt a sense of pride and responsibility. The network was not just technology. It was a legacy, a treasure left by his uncle. Marcus knew that he would protect it, study it, and use it wisely. He thought about the future. The farm, the network, and the secret technology had the potential to change lives. He would need patience, courage, and intelligence to fully understand it. But Marcus felt ready. The farm was no longer just land and home. It was the center of something extraordinary. As night fell, Marcus went inside to check on Lily, who was asleep. He sat quietly for a moment, thinking about the journey ahead. Tomorrow would bring new discoveries and new challenges. The network was alive, and he was its guardian. Marcus knew that he had inherited more than a farm. He had inherited a mission, a secret, and a chance to continue the remarkable work of his uncle. The stars shone brightly above, and Marcus felt hope and determination fill his heart. The farm had become a place of mystery, discovery, and possibility, and he was ready to face whatever came next. The morning air was crisp and sunlight poured over the farm. Marcus felt a sense of purpose stronger than ever. The network his uncle had built was now partly understood, and he knew that today would bring the most important discoveries yet. He prepared his bag with tools, notebooks, and the key devices he had been studying. Lily ran past him, her laughter bright and full of life. "Be careful, Dad," she said, her eyes wide. "I will, Lily," Marcus replied, smiling. "And when I am done, I will show you everything I can." He descended into the underground room where the devices blinked in quiet welcome. Marcus focused on the central hub he had restored yesterday. It had begun to reveal more details about the network, including its full potential. The system was designed to connect locations across great distances, allowing secure communication and energy distribution. His uncle had created a solution that could be used to help people everywhere. Marcus carefully adjusted the settings on one of the devices, following instructions from the notebooks. The screens lit up, displaying a complete map of all connected locations. Each one had a function. Some produced energy, others transmitted messages, and a few monitored security. Marcus realized that his uncle's vision was far beyond what he had imagined. The farm had been the central point, the brain of a network capable of incredible achievements. He studied the diagrams and notes carefully, connecting every detail. The hidden operation was not just about technology. It was about creating a safe, efficient system that could benefit millions. His uncle had left instructions on how to maintain it, expand it, and protect it. Marcus felt a deep respect for the careful planning and intelligence that had gone into the work. Hours passed as he worked, verifying connections and understanding each device. Marcus realized that the farm, with its quiet fields and old barn, had been the perfect place to hide such a powerful network. It was safe, secluded, and well protected, yet accessible to someone who knew the clues. His uncle had trusted him to continue the work, and Marcus knew he was ready to take on the responsibility. By late afternoon, Marcus had mapped every device and understood their functions. He realized that the network could not only protect information, but also provide energy solutions, improve communications, and assist communities in need. The work was brilliant, and Marcus felt proud to be part of it. He knew that with careful planning, the technology could change lives. When he returned to the farmhouse, Lily ran to him, holding a small bouquet of flowers. "Did you figure it out, Dad?" she asked. "Yes, Lily," Marcus said, smiling. "Everything is working. The network your grandfather created is complete, and now it is our responsibility to protect it and use it wisely." Lily's eyes shone with wonder. She did not understand every detail, but she felt the importance of the discovery. That evening, Marcus sat on the porch, looking at the stars above. The farm was quiet and peaceful, but he felt the power of the hidden network beneath it. He knew that he had inherited more than land and a home. He had inherited a mission, a legacy, and a chance to make a real difference. The journey had been long, filled with discoveries and challenges, but Marcus was ready to embrace the responsibility. He thought about the future. The farm could remain a safe home for him and Lily, but it could also become a place of innovation and protection. Marcus imagined expanding the network carefully, helping communities and using the technology to make life better for many people. His uncle's secret operation was no longer just hidden. It had a purpose that could change the world. As night fell, Marcus went inside to check on Lily, who was asleep. He watched her peaceful face and felt a deep sense of satisfaction. The farm was safe, the network was understood, and the future was full of possibilities. Marcus knew that the journey ahead would be challenging, but it would also be rewarding. He had inherited not only a farm, but a secret with the power to make a difference, and he was ready to carry it forward. The stars twinkled above, bright and endless. Marcus felt hope, pride, and determination. The farm had become a place of mystery, discovery, and opportunity. And with the secret network now in his hands, Marcus knew that the best part of the journey was only just beginning.